Greetings all, Shane Bruce, rest of my Daisy. With an update, we're working on a Model 94 Red Ritter carbine that came in recently from a customer for rework, and then part of the process of what I'm doing to the gun is I'm going to be fire bluing it. Well, to fire blue it, first thing you have to do is knock all the paint off. So we've done that, and in the course of knocking off paint, we discovered, at least I discovered, that this particular Daisy had some really severe dents on the left side of the receiver and had been filled with Bondo. That's the first time I've ever seen that done to a BB gun. Anyway, it blew out. What we'll end up doing is planishing this to a certain degree to try to raise those bumps. I believe we'll be successful. Now, part of the process on this gun is I'm going to pull the Latigo loop and the stirrup, because the stirrup is not a factory original part. Somebody's already fabricated one of those and put them in there. And you can see here on the back side, on the right side of the receiver, where as they were cutting off the old, fairly closely mounted pin, they left a bunch of streaks and scratches and such.
Yeah, you can get them.
In the metal. So what we're going to do today is we're going to transfer this to the bench. We're going to put some tape on it. We're going to hand file the stud so that we can slip it out of there, and then proceed along with the rest of the polishing job we'll need to do before we fire blue it, because we have to do something about raising that dent level up and clean up some of these edges and corners. So we'll take it over to the bench now. Okay, we've got the unit on the bench, and what we're going to do, in order to put any more fine line scratches on the receiver, we're going to go ahead and throw a little painter's tape on there. This stuff works pretty well for the process that we're going to do. In order to get this pin out, what we're going to have to do is file the somewhat peened sections. The only thing that really holds this in is the fact that it is peened on this side. So we're going to just file away at the edge till we get enough of the lip out of the way so that the pin will fall out of the receiver. And then I'll give you the advantage of seeing what that pin looks like. It's pretty common for one of these to be missing on an old Red Ritter. Not unheard of at all. And a lot of people think you can't make these pins, but you can. I usually just take a 10D nail and bend it a couple of times, cut it to the appropriate length, reinstall it in the gun, and then pin it back in place. This gun has had this pin pulled once already, because this is not a factory pin. You'll see how high it stands up off the work surface. The factory guns, of course, the pins, I'm sure, were installed with a jig. So the piece of metal that they were going to beat over to serve as, there we go, and out it comes. So as you can see, in the original, not that this is an original, this is a fabrication, but essentially they just use a section of nail bent in a J-hook that goes into this side of the receiver. On the older guns, the holes that hold the Latigo loop run horizontally. On the newer guns, they're vertical. And it just essentially drops through, like so, through its corresponding hole in the backside. If I can get it in there. Corresponding hole on the backside, and then you peen that bit over, and that will hold it in place. Well, it's a bit of an experiment. We just won't bother finishing it up. But the good news for Daisy repair people or Daisy hobbyists is that both of these pieces can be made from nails. All you have to do is form that up. It's a little bit of a touchy job to get this to work right without a tack weld, but this piece is actually fairly easy to make. All right, so now that we've got that dismounted from the gun, that will give us the opportunity to address repairing the filing marks, which we'll do with a hand file after we get this surface leveled. All right, well, that's the Resto Mod Daisy Model 94 restoration in process. We've shown you how the Latigo loop is installed. We showed you how to remove it. And when we get around to fire blowing this, we'll show you how to reinstall it. That's all for me today, kids. This is Shane Bruce with Resto Mod Daisy, signing off.